Hey guys, how you doing today? Welcome to Helmets and Hoops. Here we got Haytham Hassan, Sean Samlal, Matt Wilson here. We're going to have a football episode for you. We're going to talk about our sophomore breakouts for the 2020 season. We're going to start off with some news in the news out there right now. They're talking about Jamal Adams. He's made a trade request formally with the Jets, and they've talked about a few landing spots, most popular being the Cowboys, because everyone wants to wear that star on their chest. So let's just jump right into it.
In my opinion, the Cowboys are one of the last teams on that list of seven that should not be doing it. That should not make that trade. They have already three players on. They already have three players on the roster who are making 21 million or more per year, and Jamal Adams is going to be requiring a lot of money if he stays there. You're going to be giving up, as what the Jets say. The Jets offered. Or the Jets asked for 2 first-rounders and Michael Gallup. Like, you got to be out of your mind if you're Dallas to do that trade. To give up 2 first-rounders, give up Michael Gallup, who's a great receiver, and then give all that money and deteriorate the depth of your team for one player. He's one of the best under 25 players in the league, but he's asking for too much. I think he's fired his agent.
Well, they came out and said, or Jamal Adams, there was a report that came out that said Jamal Adams would be willing to take less because there are marketing opportunities in Dallas. So I don't know how much less that is, but I think he's just kind of tired of being in New York. He felt like the Jets have done him wrong. They said they were going to extend him a year ago. They haven't done that. It doesn't seem like contract negotiations have gone in the direction where he wanted it.
I mean, I don't blame them. Like, he's been talking about Dallas for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
Openly. You know, like, why would you give a sentence to someone who's going to do that and then in 2 years probably ask for more money and then hold out in the offseason? Then you got to deal with that and trade him when he has less value. Nah, man. Trade him now. Get rid of him now.
Interesting.
Rebuild.
I mean, they got Xavier Woods, Clinton Dix there. Clinton Dix is, I think, a 1-year deal. So there's definitely a spot for him on the team. I don't know about giving up future depth and picks, multiple picks. A pick, fine. Michael Gallup.
Yeah, and a pick, I do.
Yeah, a pick. I would give up Michael Gallup. He's a good player, but they have CD, they have Amari, they just paid, so they have 2.
If you wasn't asked for so much money, I would say yes, Joe, but first and Michael Gallup. If he's asking whatever money you ask for now, I would say it first.
So, I mean, we'll see. They had I saw a video on Instagram where it was him driving through Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, hey, Jamal, you trying to come to the Cowboys? And he said, I'm trying, dog. I'm trying.
No.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, and then that video would turn me off if I'm the other 6 teams on that list. Because, like, if he's, like, saying, I'm trying to come to Dallas, then that means that if you get him and you have for 1 year, sounds like he wants to leave. Unless you're going to send him right as you trade for him.
I don't know.
And the teams on the list are the Chiefs, Ravens, the Seahawks.
I think it's the Bucks.
The Bucks, and were the other couple of teams?
I can't really remember.
But the Ravens, I would not do if I'm the Ravens. I'm a Ravens fan. We don't need him on that team for that money to disrupt our depth, and we had to pay a lot of players in the future. Ronnie Stanley, Lamar Jackson.
Well, Lamar Jackson,
Marlon Humphrey.
You still have 3 years before you have to pay him.
Yeah. No,
he's just entering his 3rd year because he was a first-round pick, so they have that 5th-year option for him.
But it's still you're still having to do that at a time, and then when you do that, you're gonna have to sacrifice other positions. And no, we do that for Flacco, and I don't want to do that for Jamal Adams again. Like.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Anything else we got on it? Any feelings?
He should fire his agent. If someone if he has a what's his name? I forgot his name.
I don't know. What you're
running back. if he has a Le'Veon Bell type, agent that's just telling him just telling him that he's worth more than what the market actually is. And
are you thinking of the agent's name? I think it's is it Greg Rosenthal?
I don't know.
I don't think it's the same guy.
I don't think it's the same guy.
I was thinking of Le'Veon Bell and just how his agent was pretty much feeding him like bullshit.
Well, with the new collective bargaining agreement, you can't. It's really bad if you hold out games because I think you have to be there much sooner now in order to accrue a season. So you won't have a Le'Veon Bell situation come about because if you miss out, then you will. The owners are smart; they're billionaires. They have the best lawyers, the best people looking at this kind of stuff. So with the new collective bargaining agreement, they're not going to have another Le'Veon Bell situation come.
I mean, do you see him holding out though?
No, because he won't get a season.
I mean, if he holds out or not, you think his teammates are gonna respect him? I'm not. If I'm a teammate, if I'm in the locker room, like, nah, bro, leave then. Like, you don't want to be here, so like, I'm not gonna act like it's all roses.
I don't think he's not that he doesn't want to be there. It's he wants to get paid. He wants that long-term security.
But like, he's been like in the media with these problems for years, not just a new thing.
Well, it hasn't been him saying it. It's just everyone's always speculating because everyone always wants to go to Dallas, and maybe his camp's put out some stuff too. But
I mean, and he is from Dallas, but like, still,
no.
I don't know. That's all I have on it. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next thing. So another thing they were talking about is, and this has actually made me kind of nervous, is they canceled the Hall of Fame game. The NFL has shown their first sign of weakness in the light of the COVID pandemic. They haven't talked about any other preseason games. They haven't talked about the regular season, just the Hall of Fame game. It's always a week before the preseason officially starts. One game, obviously. So how do you guys feel? Does this make you worry about the likelihood that the season might be shortened or canceled?
The Hall of Fame game canceling doesn't make you worried, but the spikes in COVID and around the country makes you worried. You know, like, I don't think the NBA season is going to come back. I think they're going to cancel it with the spikes that are going on right now.
Yeah.
With NFL, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to cancel, but they're definitely going to postpone it, in my opinion. I find it very, very hard for them to be able to start in September.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I feel like football in general, both the NFL and college, is like 100% going to be ready on time. Now they're just trying to figure out if they're actually going to let 50% of the people in the stands, like cap capacity.
Oh, that they should not have. They should have like
going to be nobody in the stands, literally.
Which I don't mind it. I just think NFL.
Sure.
But I don't think NFL teams will go for that. I think they'd rather cancel it and not pay their players and not get rid of because they're not getting revenue.
There's so much money.
Well, I don't know. I would be interested to see how much of their money actually comes from the stadium and running the stadium as opposed to, you know, like if it's on TV. I think the TV deals are worth a lot, and if there's nothing else going on, still, maybe they could renegotiate it, or probably not.
No, they're not going to. Why would the TV deals renegotiate that?
I mean, but they're making money off the TV. Like I'm watching it. I watch 15 out of 16 games or weeks out of the season on TV. So as long as I'm tuned in, they're still like getting my attention, getting the advertising and things like that. It's all like it's a numbers game, but
there was like a crazy stat though. Like if NFL stadiums like collectively didn't have at least, I think it was 30% capacity in the stands, they lose like $3.5 billion for the season, which is insane. So I don't know if they're just going to say screw it and just play anyway, just to keep people. I don't know.
That's a good fact, but damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
30% of the stadium, I'm sure, is 6 feet away for each fan, right? Do you think?
You said at least
no
what?
clue. I mean, if they could have people in suites, depends on the stadium.
Oh, in
suites. Depends on the stadium.
Like if people had masks on and you had at least like 2 seats in between, that would be fine. I feel.
Well, like besides, like if you buy the tickets together and you're like with your family, then you don't need to be socially distanced from each other.
True, yeah.
They would have to find some type of way of doing that. But I mean, the reason why we're in this, the reason why we're all in this is because people, as soon as like anything opens, they're going full full out going to wherever and everywhere, not socially distancing, not caring.
People are
no masks.
idiots.
Yeah, no masks. Like I've
No
seen
masks.
Complete morons.
I've seen a lot of like dumb posts. Like people were saying like, why should I have to wear a mask outside? Like someone said, what was wild was if you're so scared of the thing, then don't go out ever. I had to get groceries. Like, what do you mean don't go out ever?
So, I mean,
like what? I mean, then again, like you could get Instacart and get groceries delivered to you, but still, like, nah, just follow the guidelines. That's all you got to do.
it's obviously the whole country going through this, whether or not you believe it. Like the quarantine is happening, and everyone that thinks that it's not a problem, you are the problem because everyone is going out and thinking, or everyone who's going out and doing their thing. This is the reason why. If everyone literally stayed in, like other countries that are opening back up, then we wouldn't have to deal with this. It wouldn't be. We already sacrificed for 2.5, 3 months. Why couldn't you just like do this from the jump and we would have been back a month and a half ago? But
yeah,
Exactly.
I mean,
America.
nothing. I mean, it starts from the top down. If the people at the top are saying like this is not an issue, then
Well, what happens when the person at the top is an idiot?
well, 50% or whatever, not 50% of the country, but enough. He has enough following that people are not listening. So,
Or
what are you
an
gonna do?
idiot. But anyway,
This
this is not a political show. This is not a political show.
But yeah,
Try to be unpolitical as possible.
let's jump right into the topic. We're going to jump right into our sophomore breakouts. I'm going to start this off. We're going to start with my quarterback. It is Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. This is sophomore breakouts. You could say it in terms of fantasy. You could say it in terms of real life football. I think he is poised to have a good season. Say what you want about Jason Garrett. He's not – I don't find him to be a very good head coach. He's not a very good leader of men. Like a Mike Tomlin or things like that. But I think he has a fine offensive mind. And don't forget all the weapons that Daniel Jones has at his disposal. The Golden Tates. Darius Slayton had his breakout last year. Sterling Shepard's still there. Don't forget, of course, you have Saquon and Evan Ingram. The offensive line has improved in the offseason. I think he has everything that he needs in order to take that next step. And he also has can also run a little bit. So I'm excited to see with Daniel Jones. That's someone you could get in fantasy leagues late. You can get him in the 9th, 10th, 11th round, where you just kind of take a shot and you see what happens. If it doesn't work out, you dropped him. You didn't spend much. So why not? That's going to be the type of player you want to target if you want the next Cam Newton from 2015. You want the next go with the easy ones, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. So do you guys feel differently?
So I agree with you until you started saying Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Cam Newton. I don't think he's gonna be that good. Did
you think Cam Newton was gonna do what he did when he had no one to throw it to?
I was a lot less surprised than if Daniel Jones would do it. I wasn't surprised at all. I was surprised that their defense was a lot more better that year.
How are you not surprised that Cam Newton had the year he had, his MVP season?
Because the way he had a good rookie year. It's not like he was a bad player. Like, he had a good rookie year and then he had a sophomore slump and then, he had a little he had potential. You can see the potential in him. So I wasn't surprised at all. Daniel Jones, I like his mentality when he plays. Like, you can tell he's fearless when he plays. But I don't know if I don't know. I just would be less surprised. If I was less surprised when Cam Newton did it, then I would be a lot more surprised if Daniel Jones had that kind of season this year.
Do you feel the same way, Matt?
No, I'm really high. See, coming out of college,
I'm really high on
him. Coming out of college, I thought he was going to suck. Like he was just another Blake Bortles. But he showed that he's really accurate with the football. And I'm trying to figure out the exact stat I saw. I know the stat. So there's a program that combines all the receivers, tight ends, running backs based on their 40 time and their catch percentage in like college or like the previous 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Jones has the overall fastest weapons over Kansas City, which I didn't even realize. And his receivers had one of the highest catch percentages of all in all of the NFL this past season. So just based off of sheer talent, even though they're not really as recognizable as a team like Kansas City's weapons, like they're really fast and talented. So I could see him blowing up.
I like if he did, I wouldn't be like mad at. I wouldn't like hate on it either. I would be proud on him. I'd be proud of it. Like, cause I did see flashes of him. I did like. There's a game where I believe it was week 2 or 3 last season. Giants were down and Dan Jones went in the huddle and was like, "Yo, let's fucking do this," and like got like his team like in the game and then they came back and won. And
you talking about the Bucks game?
I don't remember what game it was.
He had 4 touchdowns. He had 2 on the ground, 2 in the air.
Yeah, and there's people in the offense saying like they got like goosebumps from that. Like, and then they like want like you can tell he's a good leader. And that's the first step of it right there. You gotta make your team believe that you can do it.
But you don't believe it.
I don't. I mean, I think he's having a good year, but I don't think he's gonna have that good a year.
Well, like, what would you say his touchdowns would be or yardage?
I can see him barely breaking 4,000 yards.
Barely.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No, that's fine. That's a fine season.
I can see him barely breaking 4,000 and then being close to 30 touchdowns. I don't think he's gonna have more than 30 touchdowns in there.
I mean, this is all a ceiling. This is a ceiling conversation. This is a breakout, so it's not the expected, but he has the table set for him to do what I think he can do.
Which is fine, and I'm not mad at it. I just don't think he's have that early year of the people you said earlier. That's all I'm saying about that.
And just like pushing back on the Cam Newton thing, that was his 5th year in the league when he had his MVP season. The years before, his rookie year had 21 touchdowns, 19, 24, 18, and then he jumped to 35. He doubled it with Ted Ginn as his leading receiver. No Christian McCaffrey there yet. So yeah. I just find it surprising that – I picked Cam Newton and won a league because I got him in the 12th or 13th round just because I had waited so long. I was like, I'll just go.
And, he's also in his 5th year compared to his 2nd year, you know? Like, you have more time to develop as a quarterback in your 5th year. That's another reason why I'd be more surprised.
Theoretically, but then Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes made their jump in the 2nd year.
Mahomes, I agree that Lamar Jackson, you can't really, like, say it's a different game plan. Like, we try to run by surprise. I hope that it stays again that way, but time will tell.
It's interesting because the NFL always catches up with things like that. I'm interested to see with this COVID offseason if that affects players' preparation in terms of Lamar Jackson. You can't get on the field and like get the physical reps in. It'll have to be mentally, and that might be enough.
I mean, the same thing goes with defense too, though.
Right. So, but all right, moving on to the next one. Who's up?
Yes.
My guy, who I think could have that Cam Newton type year is Kyler Murray. He has DeAndre Hopkins added in the receiving court. They helped their O-line a little bit. It's still not a good O-line, but I think Kyler Murray has the ceiling, and I think he has the opportunity now to do it. What do you guys think about that?
Oh yeah. Like I feel like I think I'm one of the fewest people that thinks Kyler Murray has a decent chance to finish in the top 2 quarterbacks, like ahead of Lamar this year. Just simply depending on if for some weird reason the NFL defenses or game plan actually adjusts to Lamar's running game and he doesn't have as many yards, I could see Kyler like just creeping up in there.
I mean, because Kyler can do it on the ground, first of all.
As well, yeah.
And then he had his first 2 games he had 3 or close. He had 400 yards in each of those games, right? Or 300 yards.
I think so.
He had 308, 349, and then he went to 173, 241, 253, 340. Yeah, and then at the end of the year, he kind of went down in the year. But I think he has opportunity to do it.
Well, according to Fantasy Football Calculator, Kyler Murray is the 3rd quarterback being drafted right now, and he's a full round, of course, a full round ahead of Russell Wilson. I mean, everyone can kind of see it coming. Everyone kind of has a thing for Kyler. Once they got DeAndre Hopkins, he became the new hotness. No one wants to get on the Russell Wilson running team bandwagon. Dak Prescott is 5th there, and then there's Deshaun Watson, who lost DeAndre Hopkins.
So wait, who's ahead of him? Patrick Mahomes, Lamar
Jackson, Kyler,
and then Kyler.
Yeah, I didn't think I had to say. Big trust.
So there's no Aaron Rodgers there. There's no.
I think it's obvious the Packers are going to a power running team. Aaron Rodgers is the 10th quarterback coming off.
10th?
Yeah. Deshaun
That's
Watson
a
is 6th. Then we
while.
got Tom Brady, Breeze, and then Matt Ryan.
I can't
That's
believe
a
Deshaun
little
Watson's
while.
that low still.
I think out of the top 6 quarterbacks, he's the one with the most upside relative to where he's being drafted, if that makes sense. Because I think he could, if I was going to pick the person to have the Cam Newton season where you're like, he doesn't have receivers, how can he do it? I would say it'd be Deshaun Watson. We've seen the ability. I mean, Kenny Stills, Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, David Johnson. They're not Randall Cobb. They don't that's a great receiving core. It's not one of the top 3 in the league, but you don't need that when you have Deshaun Watson. He elevates the rest of his team.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think it'll be better for him to lose DeAndre Hopkins and then get more depth in receivers and not be have tunnel vision because he's so good?
I think it makes it more difficult for defenses to defend them.
Yeah, I can see a team I see a quarterback having the number one Matt Stafford having Kevin Johnson, and then you're always having tunnel vision to him.
Yeah.
And then when you lost him, you saw that he was able to spread the ball out when he had Golden Tate, all those players. He did it well too. Do you think? So you think he's gonna be like that?
I think he will personally.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. Yeah. I think a lot of people are down on Deshaun and they shouldn't be.
I'm not down on Deshaun at all.
Yeah,
I'm not down on him.
Their offensive line is really, really good. In terms of fantasy, he might even just run the ball more too. So I feel like he should be locked in the top 5 at least.
They have good receivers. The only thing is Will Fuller injury prone, Brandon Cooks concussion, David Johnson, whatever injury things is going on with him. So there are a lot of question marks, but they have depth. They don't forget they have QT still there.
Yeah.
So that's 5 receivers, a running back. They have Duke Johnson in the backfield. They have a lot of weapons around them. They don't really have a tight end presence, but I don't think he would have gotten much use there anyway. So, but that's just how I feel about the Deshaun Watson.
Well, yeah, that's my guy. How about you, Matt? Who's your sophomore first one?
My guy is Drew Locke. I don't know how you guys feel about Drew Locke, but just simply I just feel like he's going to have a jump, obviously, because he's going to play more than 5 games. So obviously he's going to have a huge jump there. And I just feel like as a quarterback, I believe in the talent that he has because I've loved him since he was a sophomore at Missouri, just based on his arm strength. And he takes a lot of flack for not being as accurate, but which I don't understand because based on a lot of the more advanced statistics, he completes every year close to 67, 68% of his passes, a lot of the adjusted rates and things like that. But I also feel like last year John Elway was kind of writing him off before even giving him some time. I feel like they should have started him a lot earlier than they should have, or than they actually did. And last season, it's such a crazy jump. Last season, his supporting cast was one of the worst in the NFL. They were ranked number 26 out of the 32 teams. And this year, they don't have the statistics out yet because obviously they haven't played together. But Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton's going to be dominant again. Noah Fant. They added his favorite target at Missouri and KJ Hamler. I even like Deshaun Hamilton. He has a lot of weapons, and they added to his offensive line. If he doesn't break out, it's almost just get rid of him then.
Yeah,
he has one of the best supporting casts in the NFL. If he's not going to,
I don't know about breakout. I mean, I would expect improvement. Quarterback's difficult to play. You just need to see him progress. Right.
All right. So I agree with Matt actually because you saw flashes of him last year, and it's all right. You didn't have all the weapons rookie year. It's fine. You didn't have the time. You only played 5 games, which I actually don't think it was a bad idea because the Broncos were losing close games before that. They're all close ass games.
They're gonna lose regardless. I feel like.
Yeah, they weren't. The team in general wasn't.
They're losing close games. So it's you bring in Flacco and you told him he was gonna be a starter, and then when he's in the close games, you're like, all right, well, we're gonna bring in a rookie quarterback just as we can. You don't do that to someone that you told is gonna be a starter.
You could. Why not? Who cares? This is football. You're losing games.
But like a lot of them were his fault. He had game-winning drives that were taken right back because the defense let up these last-minute field goals and last-minute touchdowns.
I never liked that game-winning drive, fourth quarter comebacks.
Stats.
Yeah,
I don't
because
like that
it's you're down because you didn't do enough in the first three.
I guess, but like I don't know. It's
just a fun, dramatic way for. What if you talk about Tim Tebow and all his comebacks and whatever? Fourth quarter comeback, Tim Tebow. It's like we was playing like trash the first 3 quarters.
I would give you that. I would give you that.
So you can't just say like, well, that's different. Like, no, it's the same stat. It's a fourth quarter comeback. This is what he got his name built off of. That's my whole thing with that. But anyways,
but
Drew Locke, I feel like they also didn't let him do what made him basically him in college. What made him for some weird reason in the Denver's offense, they don't really target the tight end as much, or they didn't with Locke. When in college, all he would do was target Albert O, who they drafted. Like, it's crazy to me why Noah Fant didn't break out as soon as Locke came in. And you could see watching the games that Fant would be open, but based on the play, he would have to just force it to somebody else. So it just doesn't make sense. But this year, I feel like Noah Fant's also going to break out just because of Drew Locke in general too. But
really, I wonder if anyone's.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Well, let's pause on Drew Locke a little bit and let's move to we're gonna go out of order. We're gonna go to Haytham's next guy, or are you not doing that?
My next guy is David Montgomery.
Well, we're going to foreshadowing.
Yeah.
If we get to that.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, let's just jump to David Montgomery.
Yeah.
Or you got last closing statements on Drew.
I just think with his weapons, like he has to do it now. It's now or never.
Like for me, if Drew Locke, with just looking at his team on paper and what I know he could possibly do, if he's not a QB1, if he's not a top 12 quarterback, that's a fail.
I agree.
I find that a little crazy that after only 5 games in the NFL, you're saying this is a do or die year for him.
But it's just the talent that he has around him is unlike any other rookie in the past 5 seasons. I'd feel like
Patrick Mahomes.
No,
Patrick
all
Mahomes
he had was Kelsey and Hill.
That's much better, I think.
You think that's better than what they have here?
You think Tyreek Hill by himself is better collectively?
They also had Kareem
and how bad his defense was, and how many games that they would put up so many points and he would still win.
I don't think the Broncos' defense is game breaking.
I was talking about the Chiefs, but I mean,
no, I know, but I'm just comparing it to the Broncos. I don't think that their defense is game breaking anymore.
They're not as bad as Kansas City's defense. Kansas City's defense is bad.
It is not bad. It was bad starting the year, but as they progressed, they got better. They didn't make very many. They had who did they trade for?
Every game of the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes had to play from behind. Every game.
Well, that Houston game was terrible, but still, I don't think that their defense is bad. You're comparing it to playoff teams. We're talking about what about over the course of the regular season? The playoff teams are the best teams. They should be better. I'm not saying the Chiefs are top 5 defense, but I don't think that their defense right now or last year is that different than the Broncos defense right now or going forward to the 2020 season, if that makes sense.
Drew Locke has to get it done now. He has to at least show that he can get it done, if not get it done.
But what is that? That's a subjective. He got to get it done. It was win games, show flashes.
He has to show flashes. He has to win some games. Yes, he has to
win 4 games, 6 games.
It depends how his defense.
How he loses.
For instance, if I'm looking on Fantasy Football Calculator, the ADPs here, Carson Wentz is 12, Stafford is 13, Roethlisberger is 14. I feel like Locke should finish above Wentz at least.
Wentz is a very good quarterback.
I feel like Wentz 0 weapons on that team.
I feel like Wentz gets a lot of hate.
0 weapons is.
I think Wentz gets a lot of hate.
It's 2 tight ends alone that are good.
Even last year with
Miles Sanders,
even last year with his what he had,
that doesn't count.
He didn't do that bad.
How does that not count? You can
Okay,
count
you're
Saquon
not
for
going to
Darren.
use a dump off weapon as just a pure weapon. Like, okay, I'll say he has no
weapon.
he has no receivers. Jalen Rager, Alshon can be hurt.
Deshaun
Goodwin's
Jackson.
always hurt.
Deshaun Jackson's
always hurt.
Hurt.
They're always hurt.
But he's not hurt right now. We have to count it
He's
right.
I'm gonna say he's been by week 6. He's out for the rest of the season.
So,
yeah. Okay, I'll adjust a little bit just to make you guys happy. If Drew Locke is in the top, doesn't end as a top 15 quarterback.
I agree. He should be top half.
Yeah.
Statistically.
Yeah. A high-end QB2.
The thing about quarterback is a kind of a deep position in the league, so that's kind of hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they touch the ball all the time. So I would expect him to be somewhere around I guess he's being drafted as the 15th quarterback off the board. But I would probably take him ahead of none of the guys in front of him. I would actually probably take him ahead of Aaron Rodgers.
I would not.
Who?
Drew Locke.
Drew Locke.
I think I would too, just for the upside.
Yeah, like at Aaron Rodgers being drafted 10th overall, you're not getting much value if it's a top 12 quarterback. So I want someone that can I can wait till the last round, pick him up, and then if he doesn't work out, then I can just stream it or pick up one of the other guys, Big Ben, Matt Stafford, Carson Wentz, who's the 12th picked off. I can get one of these guys, and then I'll be fine. There's no need to draft any earlier if that guy's upside is capped because of the offense he's in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's Drew Locke. That's Drew Locke.
Sounds right.
So my next guy is David Montgomery, Chicago Bears, sophomore. I think so. Last year he ended the year he had a little underwhelming year last year. He started in 8 games, played all 16. He finished with only 889 rushing yards, which I thought he was going to do more than that. I thought he was going to have at least 1,000 last year. I actually drafted him in some leagues. And you know, I was saying I don't draft rookies. I forgot he was one that I did draft because I thought he was going to have upside and where I drafted him. And he's not a receiving back really like that. They used Tariq Cohen as receiving. He only had 25 receptions out of 35 targets. So he's not the worst. He's not like Derrick Henry with it where he just doesn't catch at all. But I don't know. I see him making that jump. And at the end of the year, his last game was 113 yards. Actually, he only had 100-yard games last year. It's a little rough looking at that. But I still see him being that candidate.
I'll let you start it off, Matt.
I think the main problem is because I love David Montgomery. I was huge on him. I was telling everybody I knew when he was at Iowa State, he's going to be the best back coming out of this past draft. The problem isn't David Montgomery. The problem is more okay, I'm going to refrain from using bad language. It's stupid Matt Nagy. He is the worst. I don't know why they're letting that guy call the offense.
Because he's tied to Andy Reid.
Who cares? Okay.
Same reason why Matt LaFleur, these guys tied to Sean McVay. It's just, you hope to get the next one.
Like, their offensive scheme in general doesn't make sense. Their offensive line is surprisingly bad. Like, based on their names and where they were drafted, they should be pretty good. Like, a couple of years ago, they were okay, but you can't run a zone scheme big on big when your linemen are horrible. They should be more of a gap scheme. And some plays, when you watch it, it's like Matt Nagy is simply just drawing up plays on the sideline and calling them like no rhyme or reason. He runs a play that's designed for like 3rd and 1 on 1st and 15. It just doesn't make sense to me. And they showed he didn't. Can't go. He doesn't. He doesn't like. It almost looked like he didn't like David Montgomery because they weren't giving him the ball as much as they should have early on in this season. Maybe it's because he's a rookie, didn't get the playbook, something like that. But he wasn't getting fed the ball like they should have. I feel like he was more talented of a back than Jordan Howard. But
Jordan Howard's a very good runner.
He is. But I just think Matt Nagy's the problem there.
Do you see him in replace some point this year?
I don't think this year, but
if they lose like they've been losing after that first year with them.
Yeah.
potentially.
I feel like he doesn't win over like 4 games. He might be just gone immediately. 5 games.
I don't see how you can think that their Bears offense will be any better. Their defense is fine. The defense is good.
Fine, they're great, but go ahead.
The defense is good. Great. Whatever. But what makes you think that Trubisky will take a step forward or just be better than he's been in the past? I typically like running backs on good offenses because they'll be moving the ball, more opportunities to touch the ball, catch, touchdowns, things like that. I don't see that for Chicago.
Didn't Trubisky have a good sophomore year?
He had a good. This is going to be his 4th year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
First year was sophomore year was when they had the really good year. First year with Matt Nagy.
When they went 11-3, he had 3,233 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions.
I mean, he had a good year.
That isn't the best. It's crazy.
He had 421 yards rushing though, and 3 touchdowns on the run.
What was it? That was the year that he had like 1 or 2 games where he had like 6 touchdowns, right? Mm-hmm. Where he had like 4 before half.
Outliers
which might inflate his numbers. So, are you trying to say that he's done it before, so he could do it again?
I am.
You know who else has done it before? Blake Bortles has had a good year. So
that's true. I'm not saying he will do it. I'm saying he can.
Anyone can. I'm talking about the likelihood of it happening.
And another way that could happen. Do you think Foles will come in at some point of the year?
That's a wild card there. I don't know.
See, what's funny is I think Foles is going to be the starter week 1.
Ooh.
I think that's why they traded for him.
I think that's more likely than Trubisky being good.
I mean,
but then again, it's Matt Nagy, so he acts like he talks up Trubisky like he's amazing every time.
I was gonna say because it sounds like Chicago, like the city of Chicago, hates Trubisky more than anything they've ever heard of because of Mahomes and Deshaun Watson aspect.
I don't think so. I think they hate him because they saw how good their team is, or could have been if he was not hot garbage. Like, they could be great. They just need a quarterback.
They could be great if they got Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, well, yeah.
Instead of him. That's what I meant.
I think they would have been happy if he was just like a serviceable quarterback. But I don't think he's serviceable. They have that whatever meme that if you want to picture what social distancing is, just picture Matt Trubisky throwing the ball to one of his receivers. That's 6 feet away.
Because what he was really more effective as a runner than he was a thrower. So I will give you that.
Yeah, no one. I mean, unless you're getting up to like not Lamar Jackson, but like a Deshaun Watson level of efficiency, Russell Wilson efficiency on the ground. I don't really want that for my quarterback. I want you to be able to throw the ball, get everyone involved, and if you have that extra element, great.
I agree, but yeah. Ooh, Trubisky, yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's not a knock against David Montgomery. It's a knock against Chicago's offense for me. And
they ran the ball only 7 times versus the Saints last year. That should never happen.
Yeah.
I don't care how far you are down. But
I still think Montgomery doesn't have that breakout though. I think he's gonna have at least 1,200 rushing yards.
I mean,
I'll be surprised if he gets over 1,000.
And I think he's 1,200 rushing yards. I think he's gonna have at least 8 rushing touchdowns at least.
I'll be surprised if they even get to the end zone more than 8 times during the year.
That's if they play all 16 games this season, barring COVID or whatever.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, he doesn't get the receiving work because they have Tariq Cohen who excels at that. Jordan Howard is gone, so they could potentially do that. And they haven't brought in anyone that's going to take work away from David Montgomery. So he does have more rush attempts in his outcomes.
Wasn't Jordan Howard gone by the time Montgomery played his first NFL game?
I don't know about when he first played, but he definitely got a bump, or he started getting all those carries once Jordan Howard was traded to the Eagles. So it's going to be interesting. So it's just those 2 running backs back there. I'm afraid of.
It's crazy that he had games of 13, 14, 13, 14, 14, 2, 11 rushing attempts.
Rushing attempts. Oh, okay. Thought you were talking fantasy points. I was like, not even that bad.
Attempts.
So, but all right, let's get on to the next one.
Sir Matthew.
All right, my next guy is actually one of my favorite players in general out of the draft last year. TJ Hawkinson. after week 1, I feel like he was the hottest commodity on the waiver market or the waiver wire. He had that huge blow up game and then nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's really weird. One game he'll have 10 targets, next he'll have 3 or 4. And it didn't seem like there was real rhyme or reason to it. I mean, he did get hurt in the game on Thanksgiving, I think, against the Bears, but that was like week 13. And like I said, some weeks it looks like the entire offense revolved around him, and the next week he'd get 2 or 3 targets. I mean, he didn't have a drop problem for the first 4 or 5 games, but then he kind of fixed it. But
the talent is there.
Yeah,
I think he's poised to be the next kind of George Kittle mold, where he blocks very well and he's able to receive as well. You just have to wait for him to grow into a better NFL player.
Yeah. So he's like you said, the talent's there, the opportunity's there. So I feel like if he just does what he's supposed to do, fixes his catching problem, he should have a pretty good year.
How about his targets? 3, 4, 3, 1, 2, 2 at different games. Like, that's not very many.
Yeah, I think his first game was like 11.
Yeah, or his first game was 9. His last game was 11.
Oh, last game was 11,
But he only had 6 receptions and 18 yards in that last game.
It's just crazy how they used him in the offense. Like, hopefully he'll average at 6 to 7 targets.
I don't think so. I don't think they will, or he will. I think that Detroit wants to be Patriot light, old Patriots, where it's a lot of running the ball, use of the slot receiver. They have Danny Amendola there. The 2 outside receivers, Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay, are both capable wide receivers. They just got DeAndre Swift, who's a great running back. Kerryon Johnson, I've always been a fan of. It's just too many different options. I think they're just going to use whatever works that week, and that's what they did with Hawkinson, and that's why it was.
See, to me though, why draft him the top 10 picks of the draft then if they're not going to use him like that? I agree. I mean, that could very well happen, but to me, that would just be very dumb.
Because when he was drafted, apparently he's like one of the best tight end recruits in a while. And
he was supposed to. He had like a better. People were comparing him to a better version of Gronk coming out of college.
Which I remember that, and then the Lions are like, oh well, we'll just they're trying to do what they did with what's his name
Eric Ebron.
Yeah, Eric Ebron.
Eric Ebron dropped everything.
How about TJ?
It's only his first year. Eric Ebron had years and years of drops. It's terrible.
Yeah,
if you're looking at last year's draft class, I mean, I think they just picked the best player on their board. It was TJ Hawkinson. The next 5 picks were Ed Oliver, Devin Bush, Jonah Williams, Rashawn Gary, Christian Wilkins. I don't think that the Lions had needs at any of those positions, so they just got the best guy out there. They had just lost Eric Ebron, so they needed a tight end. And there's still value to having a good blocking tight end out there that is capable as a receiver as well.
See, one of the biggest needs that Detroit has had since they got rid of Snacks Harrison was defensive tackle. Like, I thought it was a lock that they were going to pick Oliver, and they picked Hawkinson.
It's interesting. Oliver dropped to 9, so maybe there was something that the teams knew that we didn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I just don't – I'm standing behind my main argument of there's no way you would take a tight end in the first 10 picks in an NFL draft if you're not going to plan on using him. So it's just really weird.
Hayden Hurst. I didn't get that.
Kind of checks out as well.
I didn't get that.
Like, we see the talent. We always see, like, as fantasy analysts and as, fans of the game, we always see the upside and what they could be. But the teams might have different uses for them, different ideas. It doesn't really matter what we think. It's getting in the mind of these coaches and GMs and trying to figure out what the plan is for those players.
But what I'm saying is, like, in the first round, you don't think there's so many other needs there that you're not taking a need there and take someone that you're gonna not use? Like,
I think that it's similar to like a fantasy football draft. If you need to have you have drafted all wide receivers and you have a flex left, are you going to take the worst running back out there? Or if there's a better wide receiver available, wouldn't you try to take the best player that you could still use rather than I need a running back, I'm going to just grab one? kind of deal. Like if that makes sense. Like they're not just going to take someone if their draft grade on them is so much lower than TJ Hawkinson that they're just going to say like, you know what, we needed that position, so let's just take whoever's out there. No, they have a top 10 pick. They had the 8th overall pick. We're going to get an 8th overall pick draft grade or better on our board at that time.
True.
But
yeah, I just hope I hope he does have radar. I really thought like highly of him when he didn't drafted. I want to see him. Do well. We saw a flash in the first game. We'll see if he continues that.
Yeah.
I don't want him to do well since he's in my division. I really wanted him to go to the Packers. Really wanted Jimmy Graham
that'd be
out.
amazing.
God, I hated Jimmy Graham. So
you guys never do like getting. You guys always like getting cheap tight ends. Going cheap on tight end.
Jermichael Finley was the last one.
Had to break his neck.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. So, you guys ain't got anything else on Hawkinson?
On TJ, no sir.
No.
So last guy, we kind of did a snake draft thing where I went first and out last. It's going to be Paris Campbell, wide receiver, slot receiver of the Indianapolis Colts. I think that I see a lot of similarities, not necessarily in his game, but the use that they're going to have with Phillip Rivers in that Frank Reich system, Keenan Allen, slot receiver. They drafted Michael Pittman. So I say Claiborne for some reason. Michael Pittman, he's a bigger guy. I think he's more of an outside receiver. T.Y. Hilton does play in the slot some, but I think he plays outside. I think Paris Campbell, 4.3 speed, drafted second round last year, was injured last year as well. So we didn't get to see what he could be. But I think that he is poised to have a sophomore breakout. I think people are forgetting about him, and I think he's being drafted way too late in fantasy drafts. I should sound more excited about it.
So I do agree, but I think what people are turned off to maybe is the Michael Pittman edition. It's like, why would you get another second round receiver if you just had a second round, you know?
Hey, I mean, T.Y. Hilton's 30.
Yeah, I guess, but like for this year, who are you gonna be starting? What does the depth chart look like? Ty and the slot maybe.
T.Y. can play outside, so
I said maybe. That's why I said maybe.
I think they're just running a lot of 3 wide sets, a lot of 11 personnel. So 1 tight end, 1 running back, obviously. T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman, and then Paris Campbell in the slot. Why can't that work? And then maybe interchange T.Y. Hilton and Paris Campbell inside out, depending on whatever they're trying to do.
So I like Paris Campbell, and I even told you when we were doing. So the way we picked this, it was like first pick or 3, and I picked my 3 first, and then Sean did hit, and I actually was thinking about doing Paris Campbell of mine, but I just.
So why are you questioning me?
Let me. The reason why I didn't pick him was, one, the weapons on that offense.
Are good or too good or too bad?
Too good. You have receivers to spread the ball to. You have one of the best O-lines of football, and you have what's up?
What do you mean you have 2 receivers to throw the ball to? You have T.Y. Hilton, and then that's it.
Pittman and
they just drafted Pittman. You don't know what Pittman is.
Okay, but they wanted to draft him in the second round, but they weren't going to use him.
And they drafted Paris Campbell in the second round,
and he was hurt.
Yeah. So why would you use the second round this year and not the second round last year? You think after 1 year and limited games,
they use both? So I'm saying it's going to be split.
I think they have different roles in the offense.
So let me finish. They have a great online, and they have 2 good running backs where I think they'll be running the ball more than they're throwing. Even though they have Phillip Rivers, I think they're going to be running the ball more with Taylor and
Mac.
And Mac.
So what do you think about the receivers in Seattle? DJ Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
I like them both.
So do you think that they could be good, even though they would like to run the ball a lot?
They're gonna be split like how I think these guys will. And with Metcalf, he's shown to get touchdowns. So I think I don't know about Campbell though. Metcalf just touchdowns. That helps you in fantasy, of course. Right.
And DJ Metcalf had high 4.2, low 4.3 speed. I forget what it was exactly, but Paris Campbell, I believe, was the 4th fastest in that draft combine as well. Mm-hmm. So he has the same type of ability. He's not as big, but why can't he be used in the same type of way? Speed is something you can't teach, and Michael Pittman does not have that. He's a big boy.
Yeah, I know. He's like a tight end turn receiver. I know, but
so I'm just interested. I'm more interested in the role he's going to play in Indianapolis's offense, where the slot receiver has always been very valuable for Frank Reich and Phillip Rivers.
But who's going to be in the slot?
Between
you don't know how they're going to do this.
Absolutely, but I don't think Michael Pittman's playing in the slot, so it's between T.Y. and Paris Hilton. So I don't think that outside receiver is going to be like, I see Michael Pittman as a Mike Williams type. And where you drafted Mike Williams in fantasy drafts, you're drafting him late. He's going to get like before when Phillip Rivers was on the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want that role. I want the slot role, potential slot role. T.Y. Hilton might go 4th, 5th round, whatever he might go. But Paris Campbell's going to go in the 12th, 13th round. I want that. I'm predicting a breakout. Not a guaranteed he's going to be good, but I can easily see where he exceeds expectation and production.
So based on how he finishes the season, where do you think he should be drafted? How he finished last year? Like if you knew he's gonna have whatever season that you think he's gonna have, where would you draft him?
I'd probably draft him in like the 6th round.
Okay.
I think he can easily become a 1,000-yard receiver because of the type of speed he has. I think they'll use him deeper from the slot. A lot of I expect his production to be a yak, a lot of catch and run gone. Not a ton. He's not a big touchdown guy. He won't be using the red zone as much as you would like, but he could easily get the 5 or 6 touchdowns. Why not? They have a good offense, good offensive line. They'll keep the ball. They'll keep the ball alive. Long drives.
I just have that. Like I said, I think there's so many weapons on that team. But
I have a question for both of you, I guess. So Frank Reich is known for just being obsessed with like 12 personnel and 2 tight ends, basically in most of his formations. Do you know how many receivers that leaves on the field at the same time usually?
Well, the math would say 2.
The math would say 2. That's correct. Who do you think those 2 receivers are going to be most of the time?
I would say Pittman and Hilton. You have one dynamic.
See, that's the thing that scares the crap out of me.
I think it depends on what they want to do. I don't see why you couldn't rotate. And Michael Pittman is the bigger guy. So if they're going to plan the run, why not have Pittman in the block?
So
it's going to be – I'm afraid it's going to be Hilton and Pittman like 70% of the time, 60 to 70% of the time. But I guess Campbell can offset that if he has a couple deep shots. Campbell's the type of guy who can have 3 catches for like 80 yards and a touchdown. He's kind of like a Mecole Hardman guy, so I could see him still being productive. But it just scares me that he may not be on the field as much as you'd like him to be on the field.
I think he's a better route runner than Mecole was.
Oh, yeah.
I was hoping so.
No, I mean, Mecole at Georgia was a DB until his junior season. So I would hope he's a better route runner. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I just want to –
2 years ago when DJ Moore, Kerryon Johnson came out, those were my top 2. I'm sorry?
Gross. Kerryon is a bust, always will be a bust.
He's been great when he's on the field. He's great when he's on the field.
Kind of.
So – and DJ Moore, great. Everyone had Alvin Ridley. They were all about that. No, I saw it. Last year, Paris Campbell and Devin Singletary.
Yeah,
those are my guys.
I still had Ridley.
Ridley's good, yeah, but that's kind of like, that's easy to do. Same thing, fine. Like, he's a good prospect, but you have to look at I just like Paris Campbell. I think he's a great route runner. He has the speed you want, good offense. I wish he was in a more favorable situation as a term of quarterback that will be around for a longer period of time. Brissett's fine.
But Phillip Rivers the last couple seasons was he threw the ball deep the most. He was always top 5 in deep ball throwers, at least the attempts in the league. So I wonder if Frank Reich's going to just say, hey, Campbell's the fastest dude. We're just going to throw it up to him 3 or 4 times a game. If he catches 2 of those bombs for like 60 yards, it's almost worth it right there.
And I'm not saying I keep harping on his speed and talking about Paris Campbell's fast. I'm not saying that he's going to be DK Metcalf just running down the field the same way Seattle uses him. I'm saying that he has that in his arsenal, and you can't teach that. And I do think that a lot of his yards will be yak, where he gets the ball. If he's able to break a tackle, he's gone for 30, 40 yards. So that's what I really look forward to. And the price that you're going to get him in like fantasy is going to be so small that you could take him in a few drafts just to see what happens.
All right, so you said you guys were DJ Moore and who was it?
Kerryon Johnson. 2 years ago, last year was Paris Campbell, Devin Singletary. Those were my flags, and I'm doing very well so far.
Who are you guys this year? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, I forget. Where's the draft class? Hold on, I got this right in front of me. I always like to plant my flag on a guy and then let people know when I did it right. So 2020. Let's see. I mean, Matt, do you have your guys?
Not right up. Hold on. Let me go.
I gotta remind myself of
one of mine's Keyshawn Vaughn in Tampa.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. Don't hate.
This one was hard because you had the okay. So my guy was Denzel Mims. I think the landing spot / with the mixed with the talent, there is infinite potential there. I don't think Sam Darnold is as bad as we would like him to be, as we think he is, or he's projected to be because of the ghost game and mono and all those other things. But aside from that, it was DeAndre Swift was my favorite. I don't like the landing spot, but the talent was what I liked the best. I didn't actually particularly like Jonathan Taylor. He seemed like a fine, solid draft pick, but I didn't see him as the number one running back coming out, and he wasn't drafted as such. So
calling it right now, okay? Jonathan Taylor will be I don't even know how to put it, like the quickest running back bust in recent history.
Oh, damn.
He's got, based on just the yardage, he's going to be worn down by year 3, literally gone.
Well, that would be a slower bust than Trent Richardson.
Okay, fine, checks out. But my two guys were Cam Akers on the Rams and then Sean Vaughn, Tampa Bay.
If I'm going to pick a receiver and running back, I'll pick Dobbins as running back.
My God,
the landing spot for him is perfect as running back. The landing spot is perfect.
My God,
Homer. Oh, it is. Yeah.
It is good. God, the Homerism to come out of you is disgusting.
Weren't you guys the ones to tell me why did anyone pick Marquise Brown?
Well, because we expected you to pick. Every other episode, it's some Raven that's going to break out. Last episode was Mark Andrews. The second episode we did was Lamar Jackson. I forget what it was.
It was the draft. But anyway,
Crush.
So Dobbins and this is tough for the receivers.
I think Denzel Mims. I think he has a great landing spot. I like the talent.
I like Brandon Ayuk and I like CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, that's something we also didn't talk about. Brandon Ayuk has an opportunity now because
huge opportunity. Yeah.
Debo Samuel has a Jones fracture in his leg.
Foot, right?
In his foot, yeah. Leg foot.
Watch out for Jalen Hurd.
You heard?
Oh boy.
You heard.
So with just touching on that, so that's all I had to say about Paris Campbell. Just jumping into this last thing before we sign off here, guys. I think Debo Samuel has a timetable of 8 to 12 weeks from the time he got his surgery. Exactly 12 weeks away is game 1 of the NFL season. So that's given the longest timeline, and he could potentially start on the PUP, but that would take him out the first 6 games. So I don't think that's going to happen. It just depends on how quickly he's able to heal and then how much running and training he's able to get in before the season actually starts or while the season is going on.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to see how he's gonna fall. Like that's a value if he falls. I want to get.
It could be.
We've seen these injuries before. Alshon had it 2 years ago in his foot when he went out.
Don't even say Alshon Jeffrey.
So, and I think Emmanuel Sanders had it earlier in his career. So there's history with it. It's very high likelihood of re-injury with the Jones fracture. I don't know exactly what it is. It's a broken foot. But I don't really know what to expect from the 49ers offense now because I don't know who the lead receiver is going to be besides, the Kittles and the running backs out there.
I think receivers and Brandon Ayuk. I think they come in and go to work. In my opinion,
they have a decent amount of like number 2 and 3 receivers that are Like they have Trent Taylor, that's I guess is always hurt, but they keep talking him up all the time. Jalen Hurd, Kendrick Bourne, I actually kind of like. So.
Dante Pettis.
Shud.
I
hate that son of a gun. Kendrick Bourne, yeah. Jalen, you heard. They don't really have receivers. So, I mean, you would think by default it'd be Brandon Ayuk, and it probably will be first
It
round
will
pick.
be.
All right, last question for you guys.
But how valuable is that?
Last question.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo, underrated or overrated?
Are we talking fantasy, real life?
Real
Real
life
life.
is underrated. I think it's underrated in real life. But
I think he's
overrated,
underrated in real life.
yeah.
Just because they run the ball so much, he doesn't get to show what he can do, whether or not he can do it.
And when he
See,
does,
that's the crazy thing. They're a run-first offense, but when they need him to pass the ball and come back in games,
he does
he's
it.
probably the best at doing that.
He's really good at he's really good at being there with his numbers called. That is true.
Right.
I think that's because he was behind Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like, he still talks to Tom Brady all the time. Like, he was mentored by Tom Brady. So.
I mean, not just that. Like, he had to do that with Tom Brady. As soon as Tom Brady got hurt, he's like, or suspended. He's like, oof. All right, let's go.
Well, that was unfortunate because he had that 4-game suspension from Deflategate. Jimmy got to play 1.5 games before Brissett came in because Jimmy got hurt.
Something like that.
Think so?
Yeah, he didn't get to play all 4 games.
Yeah. He was undefeated though. The games he played.
His 2 games, 1 or whatever.
I think he had 3 or 4 games. Three games, and then then Brissett came in and won the last one, I believe. Hey, I think the Patriots were 4-0 when Brady came in.
I think they were 3-1.
True. Okay. Well,
I think Jimmy got hurt really early. Like, he was first up, and then he got hurt in like the second game. I think they still won, but I think Brissett lost like the third and then won the fourth or something like that. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure Jimmy Garoppolo's record when he left the Patriots was 3-0 as starter, but I don't know.
Who knows? I don't know. It could have also been week 17 games.
Actually, wait, he might have gotten hurt mid-game, and then Brissett came in and won the game, and then lost the game that he started. I think that's what happened.
That's what I just said.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Going over the sophomore breakouts one more time. My 2 sophomore breakouts were Paris Campbell and Daniel Jones. Who you guys? I forget who you guys had. Kyler Murray and
David Montgomery for me.
David Montgomery.
And mine was Drew Locke and TJ Hawkinson.
There we go.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks, guys, checking in. Sophomore breakouts. Come see us on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the things. Tweet at us. Tune in to text the next episodes. That's all we got for you. Heavens and Hoops out.
And if you guys want to suggest any topics, please do on our social medias, and we will try to get those in. All right, guys.
Bye.